Gamescom is wrapped, and with PAX on its heels, there's no end to the indies I can't wait to showcase. Here are my choices for the top 10 games featured at the Indie Arena booth this week, in no particular order. No Truce with the Furies. No Truce with the Furies is a sci-fi mystery with an emphasis on using dialogue to guide the action. This is a beautiful game that's been in development for a whopping 15 years, and they say that they're hoping to bust the RPG genre open with a whole new way of thinking. Your inventory is of memories, and every small choice you make will make a difference. It's built by D&D evangelists, so you know there will be skill checks for things like paying rent, dancing, and singing, and yes, they say that you can fail those skill checks. Release is still TBD. Felix the Reaper. A puzzle game that is making death endearing, Felix the Reaper has you solving puzzles to kill others. As one employee in the Ministry of Death, you want to earn that promotion to Field Reaper and work by Betty the Maiden, who happens to work at the Ministry of Life. To do that, you've got to solve puzzles and kill off 5 people. And this game is actually a visual progression and account of the art history of death, and the developers partnered with historians to finesse the content. Another neat fact, the dance moves of Felix were captured with the help of professional dancers. The release of Felix the Reaper is also TBD. Rite of ILK. Local co-op games are starting to see a bit of a renaissance, and Rite of ILK is a beautiful example of what can be done when providing gamers restrictions on their gameplay choices. You and a friend have to sit next to each other. You play together as Mach and Tar, 2 children whose fates are quite literally tied together. These 2 protagonists have been sacrificed to save their village from extinction, and you need to work within a limitation of a rope tying you to your friend. The developers were hoping to encourage in-person cooperation while exploring ruins and facing enemies, and this game is expected to be released either late 2018 or early 2019. 9 Parchments. 9 Parchments is a magical and explosive co-op game. You and your friends are a group of wizards who decide you're just too cool for magic school, and you decide to take the easy route to magical powers by finding the 9 Parchments. Of course, shortcuts don't always turn out to be shortcuts, especially when you're ignoring basic magic safety precautions. This game looks beautiful, the landscapes in particular, and it's also going to be available in 2017, so keep an eye out. Aegis Defenders. Play as a grandfather and granddaughter trying to find the Aegis to defend their home, because in this world, power over technology means power. When I first saw this action RPG, just visually, I was reminded a bit of a 16-bit Nausicaa with small nods to Secret of Mana. The gameplay, though, looks more like Metroid meets RPG mechanics with almost some tower defense elements. This game has a character switching mechanic, so you can play up to 4 different characters and figure out how to best organize and defend against hordes of enemies. Release date is to be determined. Moons of Madness. I've highlighted this game in a recent video, but I'm really so excited about it. Moons of Madness is a first-person psychological horror set in space with a particular focus on Lovecraftian themes and creatures. What sets this game apart for me, aside from its beautiful visual style, is the attention and care they're putting into all of the world, context, and narrative. These guys are using hard science to inform the space part of the game. They understand Lovecraft's sentiment, which is that fear of the unknown is man's greatest fear, and they're working to include a character struggling with mental illness without dehumanizing, stigmatizing, or otherwise overly simplifying and reducing the character. Release is anticipated to be in quarters 2 or 3 of 2018. Air. As one of the last shapeshifters, you must go on a pilgrimage to discover a way to save reality. The old gods are lost and forgotten, and the world has been shattered into pieces, floating islands in the sky. The art style is simple and striking, the lack of detail makes it seem timeless, and the color palette makes me feel like this game will be quite calming to play. Of course, flying as a bird from island to island probably will feel pretty amazing as well. This exploration and puzzle game is aiming for a 2017 release date. Lonely Mountains Downhill. You're alone, you're on a mountain, going downhill. This game is like Air in the sense that the visual style is simple and overall quite calming, but I can't wait for us to experience the controls, because in a biking game I would expect them to be very responsive and really match that soaring feeling of going downhill. I'm also excited that this game seems quite open. You can take a smooth ride down, challenge your skills by taking a more risky route, or even take your time and explore nature. Development will finish up in early or mid-2018. Ari and the Secret of the Seasons. Another action-adventure game that brings to mind the 3D platformers of the 90s, Ari and the Secret of the Seasons has a mechanic that sets it apart from the pack. As Ari, you control seasons with a certain radius using season spheres, and this means you'll be working a lot with the environment and playing with ways different seasons affect both inanimate objects around you as well as your enemies. Ari herself is the Guardian of Winter and the first girl to join the Guardians of the Seasons. Another fun fact, the world they live in is called Valdi, as in Vivaldi's Four Seasons. Classical music reference, ayo! Away, Journey to the Unexpected. If you've ever wanted to play a game that looks like an anime with a main character who happens to look a little like Inuyasha with a Splatoon sense of headdress, look no further. The developers of Away, Journey to the Unexpected were hoping to take the silliness of 90s anime and merge it with a first-person sensibility and mechanics. They were a bit tired of the hyper-realism that always seems to come with first-person perspective. This vibrant game incorporates roguelite elements, the art of negotiation, and lots of action. I don't have too many details on the plot other than you're collecting lots of teammates and friends to help you explore dungeons, but this is a game that looks like it doesn't take itself too seriously, so I'm looking forward to when testing opens up. Release is anticipated to be sometime in 2017. Be sure to let me know what games have caught your eye and what you've been playing recently, and I'll see you next week with some special PAX videos. I've got a great collaboration with Ravel, a friend of mine, getting excited for PAX, a tips video for anyone going to PAX or any other conventions this year, and of course we'll be doing some vlogs and getting some insight on what games to really be excited for once we get to PAX itself. So I will see you later, and I hope you have a wonderful day!